And how is it going, everybody? It's been a hot minute since the last episode of the Paws podcast, but this is episode 106. We are so glad you all can join us today. Just talk a bit about FIU athletics. So I am Jake Gibson, joining alongside my friend and co-host Kevin Barral. Now, Kevin, to the not cool guy, it might seem like we haven't been busy since our last episode of the pod, which was 105. But we sure have, Kevin. We've been busy with FIU football coverage. However, they have the week off, so I think it's a well-needed week off of football talk for us as we start to dive into a couple of other things. But we can't just leave football entirely. We just can't.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with both soccers who currently find themselves men's with a 4-2-2 record, curling the 3-game win streak, and women's soccer 4-2-3, haven't been beaten. Last two games have been unbeaten. So beat Delaware, tied against Jacksonville State. They went on the road and beat UCF. So overall, pretty good stuff there. And then with football, there's four things we really like about the season so far, and four things that I think the football staff would tell you they dislike and we dislike as well.
Staff.
And there is a lot to talk about in episode 106. And then episode 107 is going to be a fun one. We're recording that one. We're recording Monday today, Monday, September 22nd. So September 23rd, we are recording a pretty fun episode, diving into the world of a fall sport that's supposed to start. And in that sentence, I did say what sport we're talking about somehow.
Just when I thought we could get away from recording episodes a week in advance, well, we're right back at it. But before we get into football talk, we have a couple of segments. Let's get into talking about soccer, the pitch, if you will. Starting off with the men's team, who, like you said it, Kevin, 4-2-2, but they're on an absolute heater, 2-0 in the conference, and winning 3 in a row at the time of recording before they take on. It just had to be Florida Atlantic, who they have to take on next. It just had to be the Owls. So all things considered, for a team that got so close to winning the American title last season, this is a pretty good start to the season for this Panthers team as they look to make it back there and this time win it.
Yeah, you thought at one point they were struggling, right? They lost a couple in a row. Yeah, they lost 2 in a row to NC State, South Carolina. They should have beat Stony Brook, I believe it was, who they were leading 2-0. Ended up losing. Creighton is another one that they probably should have won. Unfortunately, just sort of sloppy play. 2 red cards, down 2 guys. Not a lot you could do there. But then you come back and bounce back, starting conference play with a bang against Memphis. 1-0 win, 1-0 win. FGCU, 2-0. Missouri State, 1-0. Pasquale Capriati, one of the Italians on the team. 3 goals in 3 games. He's been awesome. He's been really fun to watch. Nigel Van Haveren, awesome Paws podcast legend. Awesome game against, 3 straight shutouts for clean sheet for Van Haveren after struggling. And he actually being benched after the South Carolina game. They started Beltran in the Stony Brook game, and then they went right back to Nigel. And Nigel with 3 straight clean sheets. He's been awesome. He's been fun to watch. So shout out to the men's soccer team. Kyle Russell doing a very good job there, and it doesn't get much easier. You noted it. Florida Atlantic, a team in Portland that's actually pretty solid. And then you've got Temple, who's always decent. Like the American is always a tough conference for men's soccer. So
yeah, it's good.
It does not get easier from here. Although I will say they did beat the best team in the conference, in my opinion, which is Missouri State. Now you still have to face the champs, but you're facing them at home against Charlotte. Last game
senior
of the year.
night. Nonetheless.
That is going to be a massive game, depending on what the standings could be. But men's soccer on a nice little run here, and got to give them credit. If they keep it up, they beat maybe FAU. There's a good shot that they could be finding themselves ranked at some point in the top 25 if they keep this up.
They might need to bring some seats in for that game against Charlotte. That's going to mean the world to this Panthers team. Not just to prepare yourself for the tournament, but to just get some sweet revenge that I know this team has been dying to get. Nigel might have said otherwise when he said, it's just another opponent. Okay, listen. They know how badly they want to beat the Charlotte 49ers team. And do I blame them? Hell no! To lose like that in such heartbreaking fashion, no, they're going to give 110%. against the 49ers, and especially because it'll be in front of the fans as well. Funnily enough, Kevin, one of the best performances this season for the men's soccer team actually came in a loss against South Carolina on the road. You lose 3-2, but you look good for pretty much the majority of the game there, and you get 2 goals against an SEC caliber opponent, and that was coming off a tough loss to NC State earlier, which was again another big time conference member in the ACC. So I think South Carolina, that was a good performance by them, and then after that draw to Stony Brook 2-2, FIU's been just on a massive heater, and I think they've gotten onto a massive heater and the perfect time. So just, talk a bit about what you've seen, how they have been able to pretty much turn things around against, obviously, opponents up to their caliber and then some in these last few matches.
Yeah, going up against, a Sun Belt team for soccer and in South Carolina, crazy to say that one, but yes.
That's right. All the conferences are very strange. Conference USA doesn't even exist in men's soccer.
No, they do not. You're right. Yep, exactly. So, yeah, it's been tough because especially since the NC State game, you don't have Lalo Mustre. That was a really tough loss for FIU, but they've really been able to handle it, and Capodiati has really been the guy for this FIU team in that sense, to where he's been really good. And I'm going to try to pull up the stats here real quick, but I think he may lead the team in goals. Yeah, 4. Then you have Joan Helen with 3, Lalo with 2, Scott Neal with 1, and then a lot of guys with 1. But yeah, they've been really good. And then in points, yeah, Capodiati with 11. So he's been the guy. And this is a guy they brought in, they felt really good about since the offseason or preseason, whatever you want to call it, for men's soccer. And yeah, he's been the guy, and that's how they've really been able to do it. Now you bring back Lalo Mustre. He didn't play a lot of minutes against Missouri State, just given this was his first game back from the injury. The field was in terrible conditions.
Yeah, it was awful.
Shout out to the facility staff for actually getting that game in, because a lot of people thought
they were going to get it in.
No one knows this, but a lot of people thought they were going to have to end up playing this at Pitbull Stadium. So they were going to have to make the lines. They were going to have to put up the goals, take out the goal post. So it was going to be a whole thing. So thankfully, they got the game in. The game did happen at FIU Soccer Stadium, Leyva Family Field, and shout out to them. But yes, Lalo got in there. I would assume he probably starts against FAU on Friday. So it'll be definitely a tough matchup, but one that I think I could see them winning. They beat them last year, knocking them out of the American tournament. Now it's no longer the American Athletic Conference, just the American tournament. So yeah, I think Pasquale has certainly been the guy to look out for these last couple of weeks, especially the run he's been on. He's been great.
Sunbelt is a weird conference in men's soccer. UCF, West Virginia, Kentucky, and then, like you mentioned, South Carolina.
Oh, really tough conference at the end of the day.
It's very good. The Big Ten is very weird, too, because Washington's the only West Coast team in the Big Ten in men's soccer. So they're on the biggest island, maybe in all of college athletics, with all the rest of the Big Ten schools. So you mentioned it earlier, but what Nigel's been able to do these last few matches has been nothing short of awesome. And it's really just an emphasis on how this team plays, right? I mean, you look at the stats here. They average almost 12 shots per game, which is absolutely awesome. They have 24 saves thus far this season. They're, I'm not going to say boat racing, but for the majority of these matches, across most positive stats that you can take away, with the exception of maybe yellow cards, sometimes they do get a little bit heavy when it comes to the pens. But stat-wise, the offense for men's soccer, I feel like, has gotten better and better and better as the season has progressed, and they have some absolutely insane attackers that I think have professional soccer level talent, maybe even in MLS. Yeah,
agreed. Definitely. With Owen Travis back has also been a huge help too. In that back, I guess the back line, the defense, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Van Haveren's been awesome, and this is kind of the style that we've seen from Colorado the last couple of years, an aggressive style where they're going to put shots up. They're going to make sure that the other team is not on the FIU side of the pitch. So they not that they struggled with that recently, but it's certainly been a lot better than what it used to. So happy with what it's looked like so far, and especially these last couple games, it's been fun to watch, and it doesn't get easier. But I think they're finally getting to a nice rhythm where it comes at the right time too, right? I mean, with
Yeah.
conference play here, now they go on a really weird road trip to Portland, but Portland's a really good team. Portland's a really good team, so
They are.
you can't take them lightly.
Maybe it's fair that they have to head to Portland after taking on not one but two straight opponents from the state of Nebraska back to back to start the season. Maybe that's karma, if you will. As far as negatives about this team thus far, they've committed 113 fouls this season, which seems substantially high, all things considered. They've allowed 3 penalty kicks on them, which all have gone in as goals. Meanwhile, the Panthers have yet to attempt a penalty kick this season in regulation. So I think there are definitely some things there discipline-wise that perhaps they could straighten out as we continue conference play. But, I mean, if they get those things under their belt, I think they're a very complete team, maybe even more complete than what we saw last season, Kevin.
Yeah, FIU, I'm trying to find it. FIU leads the conference in fouls, 113.
Yeah.
Memphis at
Way too
109. FIU also leads the conference in yellow cards and in red cards. So, but
Yeah,
again, that kind of falls into the aggressiveness style of play, right? That we know from ever since we started covering the team, that it's an aggressive style of play from Kyle Russell. So, you know, as tough as it is, as tough as it has been, because a lot of you guys have been in foul trouble, yellow card trouble, whatever you want to call it, it's worked out at the end of the day because they're still playing, and FIU's got 2 wins in a row, and they find themselves in a really good situation right now, where in the standings they are currently, I'm going to tell you right now, I think they're in first place, either tied for first or whatever, maybe. And that is not what I'm trying to find. Where is it? Standings. Yeah, FIU currently, well, FIU's only played one conference. Yes, 2-0. They're tied for first place in the conference. 2-0. Florida Atlantic technically is over FIU because they're 5-2 this year. They have actually not. They're the only team in the conference yet to tie game. South Florida is unbeaten. USF 4-0-4. So FIU has to play those 2 teams pretty soon. Actually,
4 draws for that.
FAU is on the 26th of September, and then October 12th, a blanket giveaway at home against USF. That's going to be a big game. So.
Shout out the giveaways.
Yeah, I actually have one right here.
Oh, you got it? Oh, Kevin's going to grab it. Their next home game is on October the 3rd. They're giving out trading cards, which sounds super fun. There it is. I mean, pretty sick. What's the other? So the other side says FIU sock. Yep. That's a sick scarf. I mean, I don't know how many times you're going to get the chance to use it realistically here in South Florida, but it's nice to have it. I mean, if you have a Vice jersey and you wear that with it, you're going to be all decked out in Vice gear, bro.
I thought you had a hockey team would actually be pretty good use.
Yeah. So trading cards and then that blanket blanket, holy hell. But yeah.
The trading card is the one I'm actually looking forward to seeing. That one's going to be cool. I hope they do it for baseball. I want to see it for baseball.
Maybe I can pull a Moostray rookie card, Gem Mint 10, and then sell it for a bajillion dollars.
Shut up.
Who's been the most surprising player on this roster for you so far that you kind of didn't expect to be as impactful as they've been to start the season, but they've left you going, wow. Is it the Italian Stallion?
I was going to say, I think it's him, right? He's been fun. I like what I've seen from Bacuzzo, I think is how you said, David Bacuzzo. He's been a fun other guy to watch. So, yeah, I'll go with those 2. As you could tell, we're not the biggest soccer experts. We have 2 guys that do the coverage for us, and Seb and Ricardo, who knows, maybe we have on at some point. Maybe we'll have on this show, this episode. But they've done a great job. Make sure to follow them. Ricardo's supposed to get the recap out at some point for the men's. This one, it should be out by the time this is out.
Yeah.
And Seb has been doing a good job covering all sports for us, too, and Rick, too.
Yeah.
So shout out to them, too. On the video side of things, they've been fun. They've been good, and they've done a good job.
They have been giving us some baller content field-wise at the football games. Seb, specifically with those compilations that he did for Bethune, and especially Florida Atlantic, with all the memes thrown in there, Kevin, it's been some spicy content for us, and we are very appreciative.
Not that spicy. Not that type of spicy.
Well, you get what I mean. It's especially the Florida Atlantic. It's one that makes you go, hell yeah, we deserve to post this type of stuff. But anyway, getting ahead of ourselves here. The goal for FIU men's soccer, we can even tell you this. It's to win the conference title
every year. To win 3 trophies. 3 trophies. the regular season title, the American, and then win the NCAA tournament. And that continues to be their goal every year.
I wonder if maybe if we become a dynasty in the American will be like, yeah, let's get these guys in all sports full time.
That would be pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think it's a little weird.
Though.
Yeah, I think it's a little weird to be in two conferences simultaneously in different sports. If you just make it all
but like it's not like, how do I say?
We didn't have a choice, obviously, in men's soccer because we needed to be somewhere because Conference USA doesn't exist. I get that. And then swim and dive again, it's kind of its own thing. But
sure.
Yeah,
it's only two sports. It's not that many.
Yeah, I mean, but we'll see what happens in Conference USA for the women's soccer team, who, like you mentioned, 4-2-3. They've only played one conference game, but they looked gosh darn good at it against the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. Unlike another team, anyway. All right, they are on that one-game winning streak. They've done really good at home, 2-0-1 at the Leyva Family Field, and then 2-2. It's all twos, 2-2-2. On the road for this women's soccer squad, Kevin. As far as being the defending team with the CUSA title, they've looked pretty good so far and definitely look capable of defending that title once the tournament rolls around here.
Yeah, I mean, it has to start with Montaline Diamond, right? 6 goals leading the team. She's played 356 minutes. Doesn't lead the team. It's actually towards the bottom of minutes, but she comes off the bench and it's just like a big spark. Super fast, gets right by everyone. She's been a fun fun woman, I guess, to watch, fun player to watch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
but yeah, she's been great. And then you just look, FIU has been all right in the goal category toward the bottom, 7 goals only, but they put up a lot of shots. Like they actually, I lied. They put up the second least amount of shots in Conference USA. I don't know why I thought they put on more. Mm-hmm. They do put on the least amount of shots on goals, and that kind of, I guess, seems fine, right? Seems right.
Yeah.
Like, look at their season so far. They've only scored 3 goals. It's like their season high. 3 against FAU, 3 against Stetson. After that, it's just been 0 goals, 1 goal, no goals, 2 goals, 2 goals. So maybe it's one of those seasons where they don't need a lot of scoring. Like you look at last season, and I'll actually go back to the 2024 season when they won the championship. Like FIU had 41 goals, and then you look at shots, they put up the second most shots in the conference, second most shots on goals in the conference. So the fact that, it's taken that massive big of a dip is huge, is really tough to see. But at the same time, that also means they're playing some pretty good defense, right? So you got to look at it that sense. FIU has 31 saves, save percentage. They're currently 5th in the conference. So shout out to Valerie Restrepo doing her job. She's been fine. She's really dealt through a lot of injuries. It seems like not that anyone knocked her out, but a lot of those too. So yeah, tough slate for sure coming up. Kennesaw, Jacksonville State. Then you're home against Liberty on October 5th. And then actually, this is pretty cool. You end up on a 3-game homestand against Sam Houston, Louisiana Tech, and Missouri State. So not an easy conference schedule. Conference USA is certainly a tough conference in soccer, I would say. And then in the standings, MTSU currently find themselves in first place, 6-3-2. FIU's in second, so still not terrible. And Liberty has really been, not the disappointment of the conference, but they're 5-3-3. So it's certainly been interesting. They tie their first CUSA game. So conference is an interesting spot. FIU surprisingly hanging on with such a new team. Jaden Belter has been someone else who's really stood out to me. Not that I'm saying I'm surprised, and surprise player has been Montaline Diamond. I don't think anyone saw this from her. It's not the Noemi Paquin type of season that we saw last year by any means, but it's really impressive what she's doing, especially early on in the year. She was awesome. Played a big role. She had the lone goal in the UCF game, 2 goals against FAU. So she's been really good, and it's been fun to watch.
I think Liberty will definitely have to turn up as the season continues because they're going to be hosting the CUSA tournament this season. I think it's going to be a shame to not see the energy at that field during the CUSA tournament last season. How for every match, and obviously when FIU was involved, the place, it was lit over there. It was bumping. You can confirm because you were there in person, statting, I believe. So so it's interesting. I feel like these
the volleyball tournaments here at FIU this year. So
that is correct. At the bank. So might get some fire crowds there from all over. the landscape of Conference USA. I think men's soccer and women's soccer have very different ideologies when they play their games. And for both teams, they kind of work in their own ways, where you have the aggressiveness of men's soccer and then you have a more defensive-oriented approach for women's soccer that does not make many mistakes. They've only committed 86 fouls. Your opponents have committed 98 up to this point, and they've actually been granted three PKs and have capitalized on both of them. Now, they have earned 15 yellow cards, which is quite high, but no red cards up to this point, I believe. So,
yeah, lead the conference in yellows, are number 8 in fouls, and no reds. So
yeah, no reds, which is great. It's great. Keeping it as even as you can in these matchups. And again, staying clean is going to go very far for them once they get into conference play, which they already have with the win against Delaware this past Saturday. Now, obviously, the hater in me absolutely loved their match against Florida Atlantic, because why wouldn't you win 3-1 over them? It feels good. I wish they put up a better effort than they did against the University of Miami, falling 2-0. But I mean, it is Miami. I think they do have a really good women's soccer program there, probably because they don't have a men's one. So, and regardless, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of soccer left to go for women specifically as they try to get into a better seeding, obviously. And then I do feel very likely that we're going to see a rematch, like in the CUSA championship. That I feel very confident it could be FIU and Liberty again in the title game, Kevin. And if it is, obviously
MTSU is like the underdog right now, because they're currently at the top of CUSA.
But that would be cinema, admittedly, seeing FIU and Liberty compete in the title game again. So, alrighty, that was a look at both soccer squads as we sort of march on here. Before we get into some football talk, let's do a quick look around FIU athletics. Who to watch from the 305? Let's start off with soccer, who we just talked about. Starting off with men's soccer, they are taking on Florida Atlantic this Friday, September the 26th at 7 o'clock over at Boca Raton. That can be watched on ESPN Plus. They take on Portland next, and then they're back home on Friday, August the 3rd, against Temple at 7 o'clock over at Leyva Family Field. And I guess you're getting some trading cards there, which actually sounds very fun. Now, women's soccer, they're coming off that win against Delaware. They're going to be on the road against Jacksonville State on Sunday, September the 28th at noon. That's going to be an ESPN Plus watch, and then they'll be back home for their next match, which is going to be the following Sunday, October the 5th at 1 o'clock, when they take on Liberty in the site where they beat them to earn that CUSA title. So that should be a fun one. That'll be over at Leyva Family Field, of course. Next up is indoor volleyball, who currently have a 6-6 record, coming off a mixed performance in the 305 Invitational. You lose to Florida Gulf Coast and Miami, but you do get the W against Coastal Carolina. They're starting up conference play, taking on Missouri State on Friday the 26th at 6 o'clock, and then Saturday the 27th at noon over at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center. Both matches can be seen over on ESPN Plus. Next up is cross country, who did not compete in the FAU Collegiate Invitational because that was canceled back on August the 29th. So they're gearing up for the Florida State Invitational over at Tallahassee at 7:40 a.m. on Friday, September the 26th. And that was your look around FIU athletics. So that was as much soccer talk as you're going to get. Now we transition over to football, Kevin. And you mentioned this as we were planning. You wanted to bring up 4 positives and 4 negatives about the team so far. And I thought, gee, what a great idea. Then you show me this list, and holy moly, that's a lot of words and ish. But no, it's a cool idea. So let's get started here. Since we like to talk positively for the most part, we're like little Jonathan Mayers inside. Let's start off with the positive. Actually, we'll go 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 positive, 1 negative. You like that, Kevin?
Let's just do 4 positives, 4 negatives.
Okay, 4 positives, 4 negatives. We will start with FIU's rush defense, which, my goodness, second in CUSA, 147 yards for opponents so far. You got Sue and Hill in the interior, and they have been damn good. The defensive line, the improvements have absolutely been great. I know they kind of had a setback at times against Delaware, but that's still muy bueno for the rush defense.
Yeah, that's huge, right? I mean, one of the big things that Willie emphasized when he got here was we're going to be better in the trenches, regardless of if it's on offense or on defense. Offensively, I could have mentioned the O-line as a positive, but they had really struggled last week against Delaware. So decided to keep them off for now, make some more assessments. But overall, yeah, the defense has been awesome to watch overall as a unit, and we'll talk more about the defense because that's really a lot of the highlights, right? But defensive line has been good with Sue, with Quaylen Hill. It's been fun. So those two guys have been really good.
Next up is the rushing offense for FIU so far. And what can I say? Keyshawn Owens carrying the team on his back thus far. 396 rushing yards, tied for first with 4 rushing scores in the conference. Willie gassed him up this entire offseason, and he has been proving it. This rushing attack as a whole, 187 yards per game average. You have that trio of Owens, carrying lines, but definitely Keyshawn has been the standout so far.
Yeah, again, you look at last season, FIU struggled to run the ball, regardless of having great depth at the running back position. And then you bring in these 3 guys who all 3 of them could be starting running backs for FIU and on many Conference USA teams, even Group 5. And all 3 of them are, kind of filling out their role very well, right? So Keyshawn's been awesome with 396 rushing yards. He's having a good year so far, tied for first in Conference USA with 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's having a very nice year, and overall, I mean, he's been the motor of this FIU offense and a big reason why they won the games that they had.
But definitely. Next up, we're going back to defense, but specifically talking about 2 safeties, to be specific, being Shamir Sterling and Josiah McGrew. 16 total tackles for Sterling with a tackle for a loss and an INT. And for McGrew, 17 total tackles, 12 of which being solo, and a pick for him as well. This safety duo has been an absolute blanket for the Panthers thus far on defense, and it's kept him in a lot of these games.
It's one you hope is here for a while, right? Because McGrew's they're both freshmen. I'm sorry. One's a redshirt freshman in Sterling. The other one's a true freshman in McGrew. So the hope is that you keep both of them around for quite a bit. And many thought that the starting safety duo would be, Demetrius Hill and Websley Etienne, and it's not. It's 2 young guys who they believe are the 2 best players at that position. And they've certainly made a name for themselves, both of them with an interception against Florida Atlantic. Yeah. Solid games for each against Delaware. And then they've been really good overall this season. McGrew really got a little bit burnt against BCU, but ever since that, really he's gotten it going. And both of them kind of big reason why FIU does also rank second in the run game, right? And run defense. So they're doing a good job so far this season. They've been fun to watch. And I did not even realize how many total tackles Josiah McGrew had and Shamir Sterling until I actually looked it up. They have been machines. So
they have.
And that's one of those cases where you don't even know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Great, you have this amount of tackles, but that means that receivers are catching the ball back there, and will lead to one of our negatives soon in the struggle of the pass game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yes, McGrew and Sterling have been very fun. And I think those are 2 guys who hopefully are around for next year too.
And then last but not least, the wide receiver room has kind of been a double-edged sword for the Panthers so far. But what we've seen from Alex Perry as of late, being the Florida Atlantic and, of course, Delaware games, has been very exciting, to say the least, as we get towards conference play. 12 receptions for 162 yards and the only 2 passing touchdowns so far this season from the Panthers. We've been wondering who could be the wide receiver 1 as the season continues. Alex Perry could be that guy, Kevin.
Exactly, right? He's quietly been pretty good. As bad as the wide receiver room as a whole is, not bad, but disappointing is the word. And I was talking to someone, I was like, man, this whole room has been just not great, right? And it's but Alex Perry's been pretty good. So I looked at the numbers, and I was like, you know what? It's true. He struggled against Bethune, struggled against Penn State, but the last 2 games he's been really good. He had the touchdowns in each one of those games. If there's a reason why Keyshawn has 2 passing touchdowns, it's because of him. So, that is the reason. So, I'm going to give him some love, and he's been good. He's been good. And as much as FIU needs to get the pass game going, which we'll talk about now in the negatives, he is certainly a reason why they've been somewhat holding it up in the pass game. And he's been very good. 6'5" wide receiver. You got to use him, and they have. And he's been good for, yards after the catch, which is something I actually didn't search up prior to this, and I kind of want to, so I'll do it after. But he has been good with yards after the catch. He's making some. He's been good. I think that's the best way to put it.
You got to love the yak attack on offense there. So let's get into the negatives now, Kevin. Now we're not being Jonathan Mayers anymore. We're being who we ought to be, being as completely unbiased as possible. And I think this first negative is a pretty special part of this list. It's the special teams, Kevin. My God, it's been, I hate to say it, it's been putrid. There needs to be some sort of change there as soon as possible to get these boys back on the right track. You have 2 blocked punts, a punt return for a touchdown, and 2 missed field goals, not to mention a bunch of other points that the opposing offenses have scored off of field positioning and those blocked punts, like I've mentioned. I can't think of a single positive for the special teams. You even have Jean-Pierre, who hasn't had any electric returns thus yet. What is going on there, Kevin?
Willie kind of mentioned it after the Delaware game. He was pretty open about it. Just like Trey Wilhoit needs to get his confidence back, and they need to get him the confidence back. FIU, I don't know what it is, what it's been, but as good as Kenneth Ghostrap has been with the safeties, because he's also the safeties coach, he's had struggles with the special teams group, and who knows how much of that just comes down to preparation, communication, what it may have been. But Willie also noted it, and we'll talk about it too, with Blades being out or was out last game, expected to be back for the UConn game. Like Blades, who's a gunner, is you expect him to make that tackle 10 out of the 10 times. And when there are apparently 5 guys in Biscayne blue, as Willie noted, standing in front of the dude, and the dude just runs away for a goddamn touchdown, it's really stressful. And you would have maybe had a better shot at winning the game had you not done that. And who knows what could have happened, right? So there's that. Then there's the block punt in the FAU game where he gave up a free 7 points. I was literally a touchdown on the block punt. And then it happened against Penn State, which, again, another bad situation. And Trey Wilhoit's punts, aside from the first game of the season, they've been really underwhelming. And who knows how much of that is just, hey, I got to move because if not, I'm going to get my punt blocked. I'm going to get blocked. And that can't happen. The only bright side on special teams was the FAU game where they had the blocked field goal. That's it. Yeah. Nothing else after that. So special teams has by far been the worst aspect of the game so far for FIU, and I'm trying to be like, wait,
it wasn't even blocked, was it? That was just a bad snap.
It was a bad snap that ended up getting blocked.
Yeah, that wasn't even okay. That hardly was even
a block. It was a block. McGrew had the block.
Okay, yeah.
It was a bad snap that gave McGrew a little bit of extra time to get the block. I think that was in the Penn State game too. Either Penn State or FAU. They may have had the block somewhere, but. Okay. Yes, I know the FAU one for sure. Penn State, I'm not sure. Maybe there was a block, but again, like something's got to give, and they have a week now during the bye week to look and really think about what they're going to do. And who knows? Maybe Saquon just can't be doing both the kick and the punt return. Who knows? But he's been very underwhelming too. He had the muff punt against Bethune. He had one pretty good punt return against who was it? It was against FAU, I want to say. Yeah, and Keywan threw a pick, or something happened there. Right. Something happened that I think it was a bad snap or something. I mean, that actually may have set up a touchdown drive, but special teams has been really bad. There's another way to put it.
Another negative is a very unfortunate one that I think we have to talk about because we do love this guy. He is a 2-time Paws Up podcast legend, but Keywan Jenkins, or as Jake Bolden of the Blue Raider podcast would say, Keone, has had a pretty disappointing start to this season, Kevin. No way around it. 73 completions, 701 yards. He's had a couple of passing touchdowns, more rushing touchdowns than anything, but 3 interceptions. I mean, when you have more interceptions than passing touchdowns in a season, I get it's early, but that's still really, really bad. It feels like, he's been struggling and forcing some passes, which you don't want a guy in his 3rd year as the starting quarterback to do. And I can't even really blame his offensive line either. I feel like he's been given a lot of time in the pocket for the majority of snaps. So, it's been really frustrating to see these inconsistencies with lights, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now. I'm gonna get you this one. Miscellaneous. Is it right here? No, it's not. Where is it? I'm trying to find. Here we go. FIU has allowed 6 sacks this year. Their offensive line.
6 or 7?
6. They allowed quite a bit in the Delaware game, but Yeah, that just can't happen, right? What
Mhm.
Q1's been doing, and I think the decision making has been pretty questionable. I actually looked back at the first interception of the Delaware game. I think what Willie said is pretty much right on point. Like he just did not see the quarterback kind of swoop in right away, and Alex Perry kind of stopped his route a little bit. So this little miscommunication on that end. Then the second one's just you can't do that. You're throwing it up a kind of like a Hail Mary type of situation. McGuire Anderson's nowhere near the ball, and you give it right to the Delaware defender. That can't happen. So that's another really bad look there. And I think Q1's decision making overall has been fine, hasn't been great. It still has a lot of improvement to go. The FAU game was actually pretty good, right? He went out there, he used his legs, something I think I've been kind of preaching a little bit more just after not doing it in the Penn State one or even the Bethune game.
Mhm.
Did it at FAU finally, and then Delaware just kind of went back and didn't do it. So I think that's an issue. And then not getting the pass game going, he's noted how frustrating it's been. Willie noted that they really need to do some reassessing on their wide receivers. And again, I think the big thing is that people now know who Kewan Jenkins is, and that's a good thing, right? Offensive player of the year in the preseason. You got a really
Yeah.
nice year in Conference USA. You're one of the lone quarterbacks to return in the conference. Teams are going to play a little bit differently, man. They're going to pressure you. They're going to make you work. They're going to make you work for the pass. They're going to make you do whatever some extra things you haven't done in years past. And he's still learning a new offense, which Willie noted. So it's
Yeah.
certainly been a tough go for Q1 so far. I think hopefully it kind of changes in the UConn game, a place where he's played before. He had a lot of success there in that one game against UConn. So hopefully that's kind of a sign of like, all right, let's get things going. We had the bye week, a week to relax, not think much about the game. Now you come back and you hopefully get it going.
Yeah, definitely. And put it to you this way: he was, like you said, the preseason offensive player of the year. Um, so far, he's definitely not going to be the front runner to win that. I think you probably have to give it to maybe Cam Cook of Jacksonville State, if I had to, just off the top of my head. But say la vie,
Yeah.
he's going to have to
Oh,
work for
that's
it.
who would be, yeah, him or
Yeah.
Keyshawn, honestly. Keyshawn would be a good choice for that award too.
This was actually last on this list, but I'm just going to talk about it now. It's the wide because it kind of has to do with Keywan, sort of. It is the wide receiver room for this FIU squad, the 9th ranked passing offense so far in Conference USA. We talked about Alex Perry, but when you look after him, I mean, you had McGuire Anderson, who was a baller in the Florida Atlantic game, but he wasn't used against Delaware. And if you look further down, you have just zero hype moments in aura with this wide receiver room, which is very, very frustrating. Obviously, they have the excuse. You know, they lost Dean Patterson. They lost Eric Rivers, their top 2 playmakers. But I'm looking here and I see depth upon depth upon depth, but not the results to go along with that. And yeah, it's very disappointing from an offense that can produce top talent in the wide receiver position. That aside from Perry, and that's a barely at this point, we haven't really seen that.
And Willie said it. It's like it's not lack of talent. It's not lack of not knowing the scheme. It's just he doesn't know really. And you mentioned it. There's depth
That's,
upon depth upon depth. You have Perry. You're gonna have Juju Lewis back potentially for the UConn game. That's huge. You have a Kyle McNeil. You have an Eric Nelson, a JoJo Stone, Samaj Dem. So like you have guys. Let's make something happen. And then your tight end room, right? Dallas Payne, Jackson Verdugo, Justin Cayenne, Braden Stainton. Like you have guys in that room that are going to be good pass catchers. Let's use them. Let's not rely so much on the run. Now, and definitely falls into different coverages that maybe FIU has seen this year that they hadn't seen in years past. Who knows? But yes, the wide receiver room has certainly been a disappointment in my eyes because I expected a lot of things from them, especially after the Bethune game where a lot of guys did a lot of things. And it wasn't that they didn't use McGuire Anderson. McGuire Anderson was targeted. He just didn't have a single reception. They blocked. Shout out to Delaware. They completely took him out of the offense. And
yeah.
he was there, but they couldn't get to him. Kewan tried a couple times, didn't work. So credit to him. Credit to Delaware stopping them the way that they did. Kyle McNeil actually had a pretty solid game too, I recall. So good for him. Good for Perry. But outside of that, it's been kind of a disappointment for the FIU team this year. That wide receiver room, the passing game in general, somewhere where they thrived last season.
Mm-hmm. And then the last negative that we'll talk about is the passing defense. And you know, this one kind of, you know, I wouldn't say confused me. I was like, yeah, really? But then you really look at it, you look at the stats and you watch the film and yeah, I can see why they're ranked 10th in Conference USA. a couple of your top guys, Evans, Ashton Levels, they've struggled thus far, and the Delaware game specifically was a bad one for the passing defense with all those pass interferences, regardless of how questionable they may or may have not been. It depends on who you are. They looked good at times, including the Florida Atlantic game, forcing 3 picks. But Brian Blades, when he's not playing, that secondary loses a big anchor. You did note here, Mr. Clark has been a pretty good player thus far in that group. 21 total tackles, a tackle for a loss, and I would say the most important interception of the season for FIU so far being the one right before halftime against Florida Atlantic, which denied the Owls some points. But yes, this overall passing defense, again, it's similar to the wide receiver room where there's depth and there's talent. You just need to see it all in action. And it's been way too mixed for me to be satisfied with it so far.
Yeah, and Brian Blades has had a little bit of a quiet season so far, just in the 3 games, 10 total tackles, but he does have 2 passes deflected, coming off of 2 years where he had 6 passes deflected. Probably the most likely guy to get drafted if he does, or go to the NFL in general. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, a little bit disappointed. G7, Javion Celestine had the interception going into the half against Delaware. Good for him. Shout out to him. Much deserved. But outside of that, Levels has been kind of a disappointment so far this season. Really struggled in the Penn State game. Didn't look great in the FAU one. We saw Preston Thompson out there too a little bit, had the PI. So we'll see what happens. I'm not too worried about this part of the room because there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of talent there. But outside of that, it has been a little bit disappointing, that passing defense that I think could be a lot better. And that's a big reason why we're seeing guys like McGrew and Sterling have as many total tackles as they currently do. And someone like Mr. Clark. 21 total tackles is insane.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, all of the negatives you provided, I think in due time, the Panthers can correct just
100%. 100%. Yeah. It's all doable. It's 100% fixable. Everything. Yeah. Everything there is fixable. And honestly, I think most of that gets fixed. Special teams is the only one that I have true doubts about. Yeah. But I think that has that's going to at least get fixed at some point. The rest of it, Kewan, I expect Kewan to at some point pop off. Mm-hmm. I expect the FIU wide receiver room to get a lot more targets because a lot of that falls on Kewan.
Mm-hmm.
I expect decision-making to be a lot better. I expect the pass defense to get a lot better once Blades is back. I expect it to be a lot better when Percy Courtney's back too, because obviously you pass the ball, you got to stop the run, whatever it may be. Like, the linebackers play a part of that. So yeah. I expect a lot of this to get fixed. I'm not too worried about the negatives, but there are negatives in this season so far. And even one that I didn't mention is like ability to make a comeback in a game. Like, can they come back? FIU completely laid an egg in the second half, right? So that was a lot of bit like that one was like you're down 24-7 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
That was a prime time to come back. They did not come back whatsoever. So it was tough. It was tough. I think that one may take a little longer. That's not what I didn't put yet because it was one game.
Yeah,
but playing UConn, playing Western Kentucky, like those are 2 games that you're probably going to be down in at some point. Can you show that you can make a comeback and win? And that's what I want to see because Q1 struggled with the clutch factor last year quite a bit. We saw it in the Liberty game. We saw it in the Kennesaw State game. Saw it in the Jacksonville State game. 3 games that he had the ball in the final drive of the game. Strip sacked, interception. I think it was a 4 and out, and then the interception in Kennesaw.
So basically making second half adjustments. They did that perfectly against Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, exactly. Yeah. And that was a lot of man-made motivation.
Yeah.
Kind of what Willie noted. Let's get the guys a little calm. Let's get them motivated. Delaware, Willie was very open.
Hangover.
Yes. Willie was very open. He got out-coached. Shout out to Delaware. Damn. Delaware's going to be a really damn good team in Conference USA in maybe a year.
And it's all for nothing. Because
this is all for nothing. That's why I said in a year, because maybe they'll be a really good team. But they have the pieces to be a really good CUSA team. Their wide receivers are fast. They have a really nice running back in Joe Silver. Credit to Delaware. They outplayed FIU. I still think FIU is the better team, but they outplayed FIU that night.
Well, let me give you a silly positive and a silly negative thus far then, just to give you something from my end specifically.
Go for it.
The silly negative, the weather. Like, come on, bro. I don't like these delays. We got lucky.
Hey, we didn't get one against Delaware.
But when I was driving home, I was hit by rain. So that's a big no bueno. I don't know if you got hit by the rain when you were driving home after that, but I certainly was. Positive, the giveaways. There've been some bomb giveaways so far. You have the. I have them all here. You have the fanny pack gets Bethune, nice. You have the towel against Florida Atlantic. I know you have this, Kevin. It's fire. And then the Panteras cap.
You're not a student.
I still have my ID, And then even past that, this sign from the pig thing goes pretty hard. I'm not going to lie. And for alumni only, he's here. The Rory bobblehead. It's pretty sick. Why is there a 72, Kevin? Do you know?
I'm guessing that's when the university was founded.
Bang! Well, that's when it opened. It was founded earlier. That's when it opened, including the athletics department. So, yeah, sick bobblehead. I always wanted a Rory bobblehead. Now I got one. So
I'll get mine when I graduate.
Hell yeah. It's time to take a look around Conference USA, checking in on our foes. And last week was certainly an interesting one across
for you.
We'll get to that in a sec, but that was the landscape of Conference USA looked very odd. Let's just say that James Madison puts the beating on Liberty in Lynchburg. I thought the Flames were going to come out swinging against a rival, but no, Liberty's got some problems, Kevin.
BTA, that's what it was. And JMU is a really good team. I'm not surprised. Liberty's 1-3. They stink right now, and that makes me pretty happy. I think it makes every Conference USA team very happy that Liberty is sucking at a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
I mean, definitely. Kennesaw State beats Arkansas. Good for Kennesaw. I thought they had no chance in this game, and this is a bad loss for Arkansas State. You go from almost beating Iowa State, a CFP contender, to falling to the Owls of KSU. Great win for Kennesaw. Very unexpected.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of this quarterback who played because it wasn't Dexter Williams this second. He actually won Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week.
The quarterback for
Amari Odom. Amari Odom is his name.
Odom.
Solid performance for Mr. Amari Odom. I think he had like over 400. He had a massive game. I'm going to find it right now because he was very good. And I want to highlight him here because he kind of carried them to the win.
Yeah.
And it was only his second ever game with Kennesaw. 308 passing yards, 1 touchdown. He also ran for 101 yards and a touchdown. What a game for Amari Odom. So shout out to him and shout out to Kennesaw State, Jerry Mack getting their first FBS win.
Rushing touchdown too.
Third ever FBS win. So shout out to them. Shout out to Kennesaw State, who is the next team we will see at home on Vice Night.
On Vice Night, yes. Delaware beats FIU. Okay, we saw that. Jack State puts BTA on an FCS team. Cool. Marshall beats Middle Tennessee. I told you guys, don't believe in the Middle Tennessee hype train just because they beat Nevada. This is a bad team, and Marshall is a pretty decent team. Who
1-3 now, right? 1-3.
Yes.
Yeah, they stink.
Missouri State puts BTA on an FCS team as well. Is this back-to-back BTAs for UT Martin, right? They UTEP.
Yeah, UT Martin thought they would schedule a couple CUSA teams and beat them like they beat Kennesaw last year, but that didn't happen.
Western Kentucky takes down Nevada. Again, I'm sure they regret scheduling the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry back-to-back in their non-con being the Nevada. That's a team that's not going to the Pac-12.
Shout out to Western Kentucky. They put up 21 points in the fourth quarter, I think it was, or something
big
like that.
Time. Big
comeback. Big comeback, yeah.
La Tech puts the clamps on Southern Miss, but shout out Southern Miss. They were in this game against one of the better defenses. They still put up 20 respectable points against the Bulldogs.
Shout out to the Bulldogs. They're playing some good football.
Texas drops 55 on
Sam. I'm sorry. Sam Houston just sucks this year. I just want to be totally blunt with you guys.
But I will say that Arch Manning aura, social media post, stop it. You
saw the touchdown? You saw
yes,
the touchdown?
I saw the
you started talking to Sam Houston guy. Come on, man. You're winning 47-0. Come on.
And then
yeah. I'm really disappointed. You had this ready. My king is not living up to the hype this year. What are they? 1-3 now?
I don't know.
He got
ULM.
He had a misconduct or something penalty. ULM is actually having a pretty good year.
how do you do Kevin like that? My gosh.
Both of us. You chose UTEP too.
I no, I did it, but you are the ultimate Scotty Walden fanboy, so I know you're feeling not great. But one thing you are feeling good about are the standings, because you get a game on me, because I mistakenly thought Liberty would show up against JMU. They did not. So aside from that, I went 6-4. You went 7-3. We also obviously both took FIU over Delaware, alongside Arkansas State over Kennesaw, and then UTEP over ULM. So total records, I have a 31-11 record. You are 30-12. So it is a 1-game difference, Kevin, for that top spot. So it's time to take a look around Conference USA here. We have 6 games on tap this weekend. There are 3 Conference USA teams not playing, being FIU, Delaware, and Sam Houston. And for Sam Houston's case, thank God, they can certainly use another break. So we have, let me see here, we have 2 full CUSA matchups as well this week. So let's start off here with the Battle of New Mexico, being the Aggies and the Lobos. Now, this is usually, I hate to say it, a mid-rivalry, but the Lobos have been pretty fun to watch this year, actually. They put up a respectable battle against Michigan in the Big House, only losing 34-17. They beat Idaho State, and then they walk into UCLA's trap, and take UCLA's trap. 35-10?
Got their
My
coach.
God. New Mexico State, I'm not here to believe in Mr. Yost yet.
Give me New Mexico. Give me the Lobos.
This rivalry has a name, and I feel silly. Is it I-10? I think it's
the Battle of I-10. Yeah, you're right.
Battle of I-10. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Liberty, who's looking for a bounce-back dub, takes on a really good team in Old Dominion. By the way, the first game at 4 o'clock, which is interesting for a West Coast game. This is at 6 o'clock.
It's a 1 p.m. game over there.
Basically. Liberty takes on the Monarchs of Old Dominion. Now, Old Dominion, pretty good team as well. They also put up a respectable performance against Indiana, 27-14. Not that bad. They beat up on FCS, NC Central, and then they did what they usually do, which is own the Virginia Tech Hokies. They just know how to beat Virginia Tech, 45-26 in Enter Sandman territory.
Give me Old Dominion.
I was wondering if you were going to go that way. And,
I am.
Yeah, I am too. I'm taking the Monarchs there. Liberty, they're not going to make it to the CUSA title game at this rate.
They've only played 1 conference game.
Yeah. Next up is Middle Tennessee taking on Kennesaw State. Now, I was wondering when we could finally have differentiating picks. This could be it. I'm just gonna be blunt with you. I'm taking Kennesaw.
Me too.
Okay. I didn't know if you were gonna stick with Middle Tennessee there.
Yep, give me Kennesaw.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna rush the field, but
there's no need to. They already did.
You even if it's a full house, you could take every fan that rushes the field, and you would still not fill up the entire 100-yard line. That's a small stadium,
It's okay.
But, seems like a fun game day atmosphere, though. I've seen people go there. They say it's fun.
Yeah, sure.
Jacksonville State is taking on Southern Miss. Now, how is Southern Miss do? Again, a respectable performance against a power conference opponent, being that they lost to Mississippi State only by a score of 34-17.
Shout out Mike McIntyre.
For some reason, that was a home game for Southern Miss against Mississippi State. But
all right, give me Jacksonville State.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Let me just finish here. They get by Jackson State. That's FCS. They beat up on Appalachian State, who is a very good team, by the way. And then they barely lose to La Tech. I was wondering where we would differ, and this is going to be it. I'm taking Southern Miss. At home, I checked their favorites, 3 and a hook at the time of recording. So I'm going to ride here with the Southern Miss, who basically Marshall 2.0, right? They became Marshall.
Cox.
7 o'clock battle. By the way, the Jack State's one's also 7 o'clock. Western Kentucky takes on Missouri State. I'm not going to spend too much time here.
Give me the Hilltop.
Yeah, give me the Toppers. That could be a trap game, though. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a trap game.
It could, but give me the Hilltoppers.
Yep. Well, Scotty Walden, you beat Louisiana Tech at 9:00.
Nope. Sorry. Give me the Bulldogs.
Me too. I'm taking the La Tech. And I mean, are you?
I hope he wins. I really do hope he wins, but I can't take La Tech.
Are you going to finally hop off the Scotty Walden hype train?
Never hopping off the Scotty Walden.
Never hopping off. Okay. What if Willie Simmons goes around shirtless at the Ocean Main Convocation Center for a game? Will you finally be like, all right?
I'm on his hype train already, but Scotty Walden is, that's
no. If Willie Simmons is a hype train, then Scotty Walden is a hype bright line show because of how much you're hopping on that, Kevin. But
they're both bright lines. Come on.
Okay.
I hope they don't watch this.
I have a bad feeling they do because they always seem
like Willie does watch the show.
They seem very informed.
You know who watches this? Scott Carr watches our show quite a bit.
I know.
He actually watches our show while working out. So, Scott, we love you. Please get us on some road trips.
Jason, I know you watch this too. Shout out to you. And
shout out to Jason. Shout out to facilities. Jason was out there squeezing out the water out of the field the other day and brought us some pizza too after. He's the man.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he's going to hook it up for us with some awesome guests and potentially pretty cool,
opportunities here and there. Let's just say we might have a chance to do something we haven't done in a couple of years now. But we'll leave that up to the imagination. Any final thoughts here? We have a couple minutes till we got to close.
Let's enjoy the bye week. The Marlins somehow find themselves in the playoff race. They're not going to make it, but they may as well hype me up. And let's enjoy some college football, man. What game are we going to be watching? We will be watching La Tech versus UTEP. Before that, we'll be switching around with.
I'll be hate watching FAU Memphis. Let's.
I'll hate watching the hell you talking. I'm going to be enjoying that lot. I'm going to be enjoying the belt to ass that Memphis is going to give them.
Kevin, I have to edit all these things out.
It's okay. Look, you won't have to edit this one. FAU.
Are the Marlins actually making it to the playoffs, Kevin?
No.
What exactly has to happen? What's their?
They essentially have to go undefeated.
And
oh boy, what do you do?
Teams need to lose.
Yeah, technically.
No.
All right, let's wrap.
Well, at least you have the Dolphins, right?
Don't get me started with Tua. Turn the ball over.
All right, then, everybody. That was episode 106. We hope you enjoyed. We have a bunch of things next week. You have episode 107, which I think drops on Tuesday. You'll have your Paws Up preview, in which we'll get you ready for the UConn game. If you want to follow us over at the Shula Bowl pod, we'll be talking there too, as a lot of things happen. And Kevin's giving some very nonchalant hints as to who this person could be. Let's just say, if you watch the ending of College Game Day in Coral Gables, that's a good hint.
That's actually a perfect hint.
That's actually a perfect hint. And I think we'll leave it at that. Next week's busy. Oh, and watch the CUSA Roundtable show tomorrow. It drops tomorrow on Friday, as I will host and get you ready for Missouri State and Middle Tennessee and Kennesaw.
And as always,
what? I think you mean as always. Paws up!